Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the podcast known as Wrestling in Black and White. I am your host, Hollywood Nightmare, aka Christopher Knight, and this is my boy Dill.
I'm the lone outlaw, Dylan Oaks.
And today we're going to bring a special topic to my heart. As many may know, I am a huge fan of CM Punk, and recently he had to quote-unquote relinquish his heavyweight championship reign
Let's take
after
a drink to
winning
CM Punk.
Yes, very. To the best in the world.
Your opinion.
He had to recently relinquish his reign after just recently winning it. And in place of that, they're going to have an interim AEW champion in his absence. And today's topic is, who do we believe needs to be interim AEW World Champion while CM Punk is away?
Who will be the one to go up against Mox and be the one to win?
After Forbidden Doors. I know this upcoming Wednesday they're going to do that Battle Royal, and then the winner will face John Moxley at Forbidden Doors for the championship belt. In my honest opinion...
Was it at Forbidden Doors?
I believe it was at Forbidden Doors for the belt.
Okay, because I thought it was that whoever had to face that one New Japan wrestler at Forbidden Doors, or maybe I heard that wrong. It might be right.
I think I'm right. I might be confused. Either way we
Punk
go...
was supposed to go up against a New
right.
Japan wrestler.
Yeah, Hideo Itami. Or not Hideo Itami, but...
I am terrible with
Hiroshi
names.
Takahashi, yeah. But, anyway, yeah, but back to the topic. I currently believe right now that, honestly, Bryan Danielson will be the perfect person to hold the interim AEW Heavyweight Championship while he's away. For one, he's, in my honest opinion, he is probably one of the top names in the company, especially after what he's been able to accomplish in WWE. Bryan Danielson switching over from WWE to AEW the way he did, not, no rant or no type of walkout or anything like that. He politely let his contract expire and he just left, no bad blood, no hatred or anything like that.
The most professional way to do it.
Yes, he knew his time was up and he knew that he wanted to do something different, something more to his style that he wasn't able to do in AEW that was protecting him because of all his injuries. And of course, the man did retire and come out of retirement to go back to wrestling.
Once he got healed up, but WWE was too protective on him probably, and he just wasn't one for that. He said, "I'm good, but y'all treating me like a piece of fine glass.
Yep.
I need to move on."
And I just think he has a similar CM Punk story to me. I just feel like CM Punk, same guy. Nobody could ever see him as big as he was, and he was told for so long he will never be as big as he is. And in a lot of people's opinion, CM Punk isn't as great as the world make him seem. I believe opposite of that. I think he is, if not greater than what the world make him seem. Same thing with Bryan Danielson. Bryan Danielson is probably one of, I know we don't mention his name a lot, but I think he is the closest thing to Chris Benoit in a long time. Chris Benoit's style, his technical institute, I believe that hard smash mouth hitting and some of the moves, Bryan Danielson used that Chris Benoit did, with the submissions, with the headbutt off the top rope. I mean, their style is so much similar but so different in so many different ways.
He's more of I've never ever thought about, but
he's more of a high flyer than Benoit, of course, but I think that style...
Benoit is more of a technical wrestler.
And I think Bryan Danielson is similar in that standpoint, but with a different twist. But I do believe that, honestly, like I said, if it's not CM Punk, it got to be Bryan Danielson. He's the next best thing in AEW right now. I would say Adam Cole, but he just did that whole thing with the Owen Hart tournament, so I just think he just had his moment. Bryan Danielson ain't had his real moment. I mean, he came in fighting Hangman at the beginning and had a couple championship matches with him, and those was great matches, but as far as anything outside of that, he ain't had that main event push yet. And I think with him being interim champion, he can definitely carry the company. He's definitely a household name, and he's somebody that I think will be worth seeing as champion. We done seen other guys as champions so far, and they all did a great job, from Chris Jericho to Moxley to Hangman to Kenny Omega. But I think Bryan Danielson's name alluded with those other names, especially up there with Chris Jericho and Kenny Omega. Those were the top two champions, in my opinion, outside of Punk. But I'm definitely going with Bryan Danielson. Who do you think, my friend?
That is very hard because I can see Danielson doing that, and I never put the connection with him and Punk. He technically was a lot like Punk. Mm-hmm. He was not big enough in Vince's eyes to be the champ. And I mean, Mark Henry had to lie to get him into the company.
Yep.
He told Vince he was probably like 200 or 250, 6 foot. Well, that's not actually how Brian is, but he knew how good Brian was, and he had to take that chance. And as we all know, here he is today. My pick, though, I'm more of a Malachi Black guy. I think he'd be pretty damn good, since, especially now they just got Julia Hart. They finally finished that like storyline or like conspiracy thing going on. They've now been confirmed that she's joining the House of Black with Buddy Matthews and Brody King alongside Malachi Black. I can see him joining in, or any one of those guys joining into the tournament to make sure that he gets that far. Not sure on Brian, since he had that little incident with his knee in the stage after Dynamite,
right?
Or not? Yeah, after, I think it was the Dynamite.
It was Dynamite Rampage. It's one of those two shows.
Where that style ramp they did going up to the stage. I don't know how you managed to do that. Where his leg went through and got caught.
Mm-hmm.
He might be injured, and since Punk is injured and can't defend the title, they might not want to go in that route in case he is injured.
Right.
So I mean, it's like putting the title on another hurt horse. He's gonna have to do it again.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. Obviously, we don't know. He did wrestle at Double or Nothing. I think it was after that was Double or Nothing, wasn't it?
Yep.
So he could go. So he might be. But we nowadays we don't want wrestlers working when they're injured, like watching Cody wrestle in his match in WWE with a torn pec, and you can clearly see that one's more visible. We can't see about Brian's knee, but that's my thing. I think Malachi Black would be a good one because he's another one of those top guys, and I mean the crowd is with him the second he steps out. I mean when he first showed up, Cody got booed out of the building. Even though he's trying to be like good versus evil, everyone's behind the Malachi.
Yeah.
So I can see Malachi being the guy coming in and being the champ, because I don't believe it'll be Mox. I don't think Mox will be the one to win that match.
I don't either.
He's already been the champ, and they've obviously are going with the whole new guy every time the title, at least so far.
Yeah, I don't see a second reign for anybody.
I don't see him already. Because
if anything, that's why they kept Chris Jericho out the title picture, because they don't want to have that.
They want it immediately.
Yeah, they don't want to have that second reign. Just so,
I think they're putting more prestige on this title than for that, since kind of like in other companies they tend to switch hands a lot faster than most.
Yep.
And I think the AEW might be trying to bring that more back to where you hold the belt, you hold it for a long time. Back in the old days, like Bruno Sammartino had it for 2,000 days, and like no one's ever come close to that.
Right.
Except like Jacob Fatu and MLW, where he had it 700 days, or like Roman Reigns going up. I think he's like 600 or 700 now.
Right. You know, like Walter or Pete Dunne. You know, when
the guys who have held that title because they made that title. It's wow, the prestige to this. You have to beat this Goliath to get the title. So that's what I can see. So I feel like that's what they're going with the AEW title. Like these are these big names: Chris Jericho, John Mox, Kenny Omega. Adam Page was definitely the smaller of the four, but I think he did all right for his situation.
Yeah.
So I have a question. My question that I would pose is, what makes Malachi Black the better guy versus Daniel Bryan?
I would say my reason with that is because they just ended like this storyline with the whole Julia Hart thing and her coming in. So I can see them pulling that trick like they did with Death Triangle. They could not. They might still be going up against Death Triangle or the Varsity Blondes with the whole Julia Hart thing. But that's just what I was going with, because, again, same with like Brian, they haven't really done anything else. What else is he going to do now? What's the next thing for the House of Black? What's the next thing for Brian in his group with Mox and William Regal and whatever the other guy's name is, the newer guy. I can't think of his name at the moment. I feel like an ass, but...
we know what you're speaking of, yeah.
But I would say out of all the other guys in AEW who are top tier guys, I would have to go with, I'd say it's a pick, Brian or Malachi. Because I feel like they would be they're almost the same style, where Daniel's more of a submission high flyer, where Malachi is, I think he could do some submissions. I don't see him do it very often, but he's that MMA Muay Thai, kickboxer, vicious guy. So they're similar, but they're different at the same time.
Yeah.
So I think it would be, and I just think it would do well for like the House of Black to start gaining some more prestige
Momentum.
since they are a group. But I can see it being Daniel for it because Punk's coming back.
Yeah.
And I can see that'd be a hell of a match, Punk versus Bryan.
And what would make Daniel Bryan the better option?
Simple, man. His household name. I feel like, you know, most companies nowadays, it's all, I know it sounds crazy. They say that, you know, the belt don't make the man make the belt. And in this case, that's exactly what it is. You want to have your company represented by a top name. You know, you don't look at companies and be like, you know, like for example, when Kofi Kingston won the WWE Championship at WrestleMania against Daniel Bryan, that was because of the fans. That wasn't because of Kofi Kingston. That wasn't because the company was wanting to go in that direction.
Vince would never would have gone with that way.
That was because
if the push from
of
the
the
fans
hype.
was that big.
The fans wanted to see it. We all knew Kofi Mania, all that greatness that came off of one.
Which is the same
match.
way on how Bryan ended up with his titles, where he beat, but it was Batista and Triple H at WrestleMania.
And Randy Orton, because Randy Orton was an actual threat match.
Yeah, he was. It wasn't Randy. I thought he was, but
because he fought Triple H first, and then got into the triple
but
threat match.
he never would have gotten that far if it wasn't for the fans with the Yes movement and everything. Dana would not have gotten that either. So
yeah,
I can definitely see that with a whole Bryan.
I just think, like I said, just that alone, and just the fact that the fans will get behind something like that and be willing to be loved by that, I think that would make it great. I know, like I said, just the way companies are now, you want to have the right person representing. Same thing with Hangman. Fans got behind Hangman. That was a slow build. We all knew it was coming eventually, but I'm glad they took their time with it the way they did. So when it happened, it worked. Like same thing now. I mean, we could both be wrong, and maybe they go with an AEW original. Maybe they go with somebody like Darby Allin, you know, to carry it. I mean, obviously, it's an interim championship, so we all know, in reality, 9 times out of 10, when Punk comes back, he's going to get his rightful reign. So the question is, who can be able to carry the company while he's away? You know, that's why,
fair.
That is why I go with Bryan Danielson.
Okay, so what makes his choice of Malachi Black a bad option?
Honestly, it just ain't right timing. And that's just, I don't feel like Malachi Black, I think he's too good of a wrestler to be an interim championship. If anything, he deserves to have a rightful reign as a champion, not no interim champion and you go against the real champion and the winner take all type of situation. He's better than that. If anything, he needs to go and win like a casino battle royal and then get his main event opportunity at All Out and actually, you know, go up against a guy like Punk or a guy like Bryan Danielson and beat them in the main event to solidify your reign. It's not even about winning the championship. It's all about who you beat to win it. You know, like no, you're not gonna remember.
Do you jump the hurdle that you have to jump? Can you take down Goliath?
Right. Like let's say, for example, let's say in WWE, if Cody Rhodes beats Roman Reigns, not only did Cody Rhodes become a heavyweight champion,
huge.
He also beat the guy. You know, it ain't the same as Cody Rhodes beating somebody like Alberto Del Rio or beating somebody like Jack Swagger or Dolph Ziggler. It doesn't have the same meaning. I mean, yeah, he won the championship, but we all know who's gonna win that one. Looking at the match card, you know, I feel like Malachi Black, if he's gonna win a championship, he deserves to win it in the right way. Daniel Bryan.
The way you're saying that, I'd have to say the exact same thing for Bryan. I think it's just it's a
But
little
Bryan,
early.
but Bryan had already made it. So he's already known with or without the championship reign. That's why I said he's a good placement. Without that, Malachi Black is not on the same level as Bryan Danielson, but he deserves to be. I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve it. That's why he left WWE to go to AEW because he wasn't getting that opportunity. But however, he's just not there yet in the main event spotlight, if you will. Like, you just don't go from having a trios match with the Varsity Blondes to being a champion just like that. It ain't working.
I would say yes if that was a normal team, but when like the House of Black just has as their own monster. They're not like low tier guys and new guys to the scene like the Varsity Blondes. They're not that notoriety. All three of the guys in House of Black have paid their dues in their respective companies. Julia Hart's new since she started in AEW, so I'm not saying anything with that. But I would say just like Malachi Black on his own, I would say he's probably up there with guys who's left in the company who would be able to hold it. But I do agree. I think if he's going to win the title, he needs to beat the guy and not just hold it. Because I've never liked interim or there was another word.
Transitional
champions.
So,
I hate that so much.
So my question is, what makes his choice of Daniel Bryan a bad choice?
I have to just pretty much agree with what he said with mine. I think it might not be ready because not saying like it's ready, like he's not been with AEW that long, but I'm saying it's like he's another guy who he should beat the guy and hold on to the title. I have a hard time seeing him being a transitional interim champion. I could see that being a AEW original, a lower tier guy to get him up to the next stage in his career. For Punk, and then comes in and he have that match against Punk. Because I think Punk versus Danielson would be a great match, but I think it would be way better for Punk versus this, like let's say Darby, Punk versus Darby again, or Punk versus whoever, because it's Punk and for the title. But I have a hard time seeing Punk not winning this match.
Yeah.
So I'd say it would be well for it to be a lower tier guy, but to help him get up to the next stage in his career.
That makes sense.
I think that would be better than having like top tier guys do it, hold it for whatever it was, 6 months, 3 to 6 months that he might be out. It's like, yeah, those guys could easily carry the company while Punk is gone, but I'd say it would be better for a smaller tier guy to do it and bring it up there, since instead of having either Malachi or Danielson, because they're such up there performers, talents, and household names.
I can relate to that, and I think both.
I think I just made an argument as to why neither one of them should be the champ.
Pretty much. But I mean, you make valid points. I mean, we both on the same.
We're on the same wavelength,
page, but with two different people to be in the place. But
honestly, though, it's up in the air. It could be fucking anybody. For all we know, it could be Wardlow, or it could be MJF.
I wouldn't be surprised if MJF come in and take that spot.
I can see that happening.
I can see that happening too. But I would much rather it be an AEW original, because I believe they deserve it because of that reason. So many household names that came in and took it over that spotlight that they was creating before they got there.
MJF is saying what he is saying. He does have a bit of a point.
Yeah.
So at the end of this, we kind of just contradicted ourselves. I could see an AEW original taking it, so I could say probably Wardlow.
I could see that happening, but logically, it's only perfect and fitting that someone who is capable of doing so.
Let's step into reality for a minute instead of fantasy world. And say
I believe like Malachi Black or Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson are two perfect options for that role, because of how the length of time is going to be that Punk is going to be gone. It's only right that you have one interim champion, which is whoever decides to win it now.
It shouldn't be multiple interim champions.
Definitely not.
I'd say that'd be a waste.
Definitely not. But yeah, I definitely like both options. I definitely can see both people doing it. You, the great audience, we would love to see your comments. Who do you guys believe will be able to be the AEW interim champion for the next 3 to 6 months? Do you think it will be Bryan Danielson? Do you think it will be Malachi Black? Do you think it will be MJF or
one of the main guys of the House of Black, or one of the main guys of the Liverpool Fight Club?
Yep.
I honestly can't remember what the group they were called. But pretty much, yeah. Write it down in the comments. Let us know. We want to hear what you have to say. At the end of this, cheers, motherfuckers.
Thank you for tuning in.